You are listening to That's What I Call Marketing with your host, Connor Byrne.
Today's show is supported by the Indie List, the leader in providing you with easy access to hundreds of highly experienced marketers quickly and cost-effectively. Visit theindielist.ie to speak to the Indie List team today.
Welcome to That's What I Call Marketing, the podcast where you hear from the leading lights in the marketing world and listen to their unique insights. Well, it is time for Top of the Marketing Charts May 2024, and let's see what made it onto the list. Of course, do leave a comment with what you think we might have missed, or if you disagree with any of the views that I share here today, please join the conversation. I really want to hear your opinions. So, big pre-testing ad debate in May. Probably not only in May, but it kind of came to the fore a bit in this month. Look, these conversations are always great to see, and as is demonstrated so often on That's What I Call Marketing, there often isn't one correct answer, and these discussions that get into the detail a bit more are good, as it causes people to think and understand things more deeply. I've seen firsthand the benefits of pre-testing, but as Sarah Carter has said, you need to understand what is behind it. Understand the numbers, understand the questions being asked, and know what people are reacting to. It's not like the finished material will be like. For me, and Sarah makes the point too, the context is the key. The way the ad will appear in the real world, for example, the programming it is surrounded by, the position in the ad break, the ads around it, all these things matter. And you probably don't find that in pre-testing. Fergus O'Carroll shared his view based on a conversation with the Molson Coors CMO. He says that certain research companies are doing a great job of normalizing pre-testing. They're making it feel like everyone's doing it and that it's a predictor of success, or at least a minimizer of risk. They can all predict effectiveness and have a formula to get you there. That they're not killing, or at least dramatically softening the chances of you ever standing out. We have to be careful not to fully buy into this. We have to ask the tough questions about the methodology and the questions being asked. Our job is not to beat the test, but to build the business. Now, in Marketing Week, Mark Ritson disagrees with Fergus, Sophia, and probably Sarah too, saying that pre-testing has changed. And look, it is changing. And with those changes, it's time to acknowledge that to push back against anti-pre-testing is to reveal a lack of awareness of these changes and the opportunities they present to avoid failure and improve effectiveness. Mark points out that pre-testing of old, a terrible storyboard, is a thing of the past, and sophisticated animatics, and he shares an example of Carlsberg's work, show how far that has come. He also shows examples from Sky, who were skeptical about System 1's pre-testing, and they actually put the testing to a test and found out based on historic ads and real-world results that the testing was a very good predictor of performance. Good news for System 1 and Sky. Peter Field joined in to Writing and Marketing Week to support Mark Ritson's point and give System 1 more backing. He said, we found the campaigns that did best in System 1's pre-testing methodology were considerably more effective than those that tested worst. Peter shares data to back all of this up and says the pre-testing levels have fallen, and in his view, marketing is missing a trick. However, Professor Byron Sharp disagrees, saying on LinkedIn that I used to be a fan of pre-testing until I looked at the evidence. If it were a pharmaceutical, it would have been withdrawn from the market. To be fair, I do love that analogy. Max Keane sums it up well, saying that we have allowed ourselves get to the point of mushy middle work. Riding in the drum, he says that pre-testing doesn't have to mean paint by numbers. He said that it is incumbent on us to be better guardians. He points out that pre-testing isn't going anywhere. Look away now, Byron Sharp, and calls on creative agencies and pre-testing agencies to become allies in the pursuit of great work. As I've said, I've seen the benefits of pre-testing, but I agree with these points raised. You need to understand the context of testing, not chase the numbers. As I shared with Mark and V on our Mindless Marketer series, I think the challenge here is for smaller brands that can't afford pre-testing. Are we telling them that they shouldn't go out to market? I don't know. It's a tough one. But he wasn't talking about all advertising, was he? Yes, Professor Galloway kicked off the month with a big bang from John Evans, landing the interview with Prof G. Now, I've had my fair share of professors on this show, but Prof G is having none of That's What I Call Marketing. I was definitely keen to listen in to see what he had to say. Now, the big headline was the discussion on the end of the brand era. Now, when I listened to it, I wasn't as horrified as lots of people seem to be. I think it's very true when he says that pre-1995, I think that's the date he mentions, people had about 3 channels to watch, and 80% of people were in front of one screen and on one of those 3 channels, so you could reach them easily and through cultural codes sell them things. It worked. People did drink Bud because those frogs were funny. Now the debate sort of fell off the rails a bit when he said, I don't recall the last Amazon commercial I saw. Lots of people have pointed out that Amazon do a lot of advertising, and that is true. What a great Christmas ad they had last year. But I do think it is hard to argue against the fact that how we may have thought about advertising has changed. I'm not sure anyone really disagrees with that, do they? Is brand dead? Is marketing dead? No, I don't buy that. Anyway, all that aside, for me, the most important thing that came out of the episode with Prof G was his thoughts on social media and the damage it and phones are having on kids, the pressure, the negativity. It's all a bit too much. In fact, anyone reading this, watching this, or listening to this that knows anything about product design and manufacture, please send me a message. And it's really sincere call out. Now, something I'm working on and I'm stuck getting a prototype created and I need help. Right, moving on to something slightly different. Have you been tangoed? Well, as if to prove Galloway wrong on some level, Tango came out with some great new work, an ad. Now, anyone remembers the Tango's ads of the 90s will remember how wildly odd and off the rails they were. They were brilliant, and this ad was aiming to lean into that heritage. I love when brands do this. Check out Tui's news story in Australia with Chris Allen that I have on the podcast. Britvic Great Britain marketing director Munwar Chisti, and apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong, said Tango is back with another mischievous ad, building on our brand's iconic roots as we continue to break boundaries within the soft drinks category. It is great work. The casting is wonderful. The warden is great, but I won't lie, I was waiting for the warden to get tangoed. Still, great to see the brand aiming for fame. The state of sales. Arctic Fox released a study about the state of sales, what sales leaders are focused on, digital trends and their impact on sales, competency gaps, a great read for anyone who works with sales and of course in sales. But it got really interesting for marketing with the headline around the state of the relationship. 50% of sales leaders rate their working relationship with marketing as neutral or ineffective. Ooh, that's not good news, but neither is this, combined with a lack of trust in marketing teams to focus on what matters and their ability to deliver often results in sales reps taking matters into their own hands, executing marketing tasks independently to deliver on their sales objectives. I've seen this happen firsthand and it scares the life out of me. The problem seems to lie in the lack of understanding among sales leaders as to what marketing can and should do. As Tara Sullivan said, no is a complete sentence. It is sounding this gap exists, but sometimes not surprising, especially in organizations that are built sales first. And marketing comes in as a support function. And it is called that. And often one person is brought in to support the 20, 30, 100 people in sales. That is not a situation where the marketing person is set up for success and leads to early friction in the relationship. The marketer can often be junior, not feel confident enough to say no to doing the wrong things, and the whole thing is set to fail from day one. Any sales leaders reading, listening, or watching this, there are a lot of senior marketers that are available to help you with this early setup of marketing. The likes of the Indie List have fractional marketing leaders on hand who can ensure a marketing structure is built for success. The report offers more insights and suggested shared KPIs as a path for success. Just make sure that they're the right set of KPIs. I got to see the CMO of ELF present at Creator IQ in London at the start of the month, and Corey was incredible. She shared the work that was just released that week with Billie Jean King. The tennis legend serves up facts about the lack of corporate boardroom diversity in brilliantly entertaining work. There we go again. Entertainment. It works. What I love about the approach ELF has taken here is that they've leaned into a serious issue with humour and got it spot on. ELF have also released their Too Many Dicks campaign. The beauty brand found that men named Richard, Dick or Rick claim a disproportionate number of boardroom seats. Great work by the ELF team. And I'm really hoping that Corey will come and talk to me when we are both at Cannes. I've sent messages to the team, Corey. Come on, get in touch. Well, marketers lost their absolute collective shit over the new Apple ad. There is no other way of putting it. Now, I've said before that I take absolute no pleasure from any sort of work being released into the world and getting absolutely roasted. Apple didn't just make it on a whim. Lots of people would have been involved and hundreds of decisions made. As Damien Devaney said on this podcast, a good ad is hundreds of decisions the right way on top of a brilliant idea. And it's here that it probably went wrong for Apple. They made lots of bad decisions on top of probably not a brilliant idea. To make matters worse, people then showed Apple what they should have done, reversing the ad. I'm not sure they should have done that. Then they called out the LG ad that it made many years before. And then, while Apple were making an apology and they were really down in the luck, Samsung responded by suggesting they were not crushing creativity. Oh, what a mess. Of course, people had a pop at Samsung as well. Has Apple crushed creativity like everyone suggested? I argue no. I'm doing this on my Mac. Surely they have helped democratize it, or at least make it somewhat more accessible. Anyone with a phone can be a creator. Is that a bad thing? McDonald's UK have removed the iconic smile from millions of Happy Meal boxes to promote family discussions about emotion. Research commissioned by McDonald's highlights a startling statistic that nearly half of UK children feel pressurized to be happy constantly. In response, the burger chain has distributed 2.5 million limited edition Happy Meal boxes to over 1,400 restaurants nationwide. The boxes come with stickers depicting various emotions, allowing children to express how they feel by customizing their Happy Meal boxes. Nice idea to help normalize different emotion with kids. I go back to my previous point about social media and phones. Now, some people jumped in on this, criticizing McDonald's for their role in childhood obesity and how that leads to mental health issues. There is a linkage between fast food and obesity. And, McDonald's have 2.5 million Happy Meal boxes that they need to shift as well. But Louise Page from McDonald's emphasized the campaign's goal was to encourage positive conversations about mental health within families. Now, I'm not sure if they partnered with a mental health charity in the UK on this one, and I'll be corrected if they have. But that probably could have been a nice way to close the loop and show real long-term commitment to the issue. Another massive fail happened in May. Was the month of disasters? I don't know. Bumble launched an ad campaign around a new product feature. Now, users of the app will know that it is well known as the platform where women make the first move. This is because the app had a requirement that women send the initial message to men in heterosexual pairings. Bumble changed that feature to allow women to preset an opening question rather than send a message every time in a product release. That seemed to go swimmingly. But the ad campaign that went with it did not. Bumble created out-of-home ads that had edgier headlines like, "You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." Chief Marketing Officer Selby Drummond said in a press release, "We wanted to take a fun, bold approach in celebrating the first chapter of our app's evolution." Well, they certainly got attention. Probably not the attention they were hoping for. The reaction was not great. Users and followers said that the ad shamed them for choosing not to have sex. Bumble apologized and took down the celibacy-related ads, stating, "We made a mistake. Our ads referencing celibacy were an attempt to lean into a community frustrated by modern dating, and instead of bringing joy and humor, we unintentionally did the opposite." Again, not to celebrate this in any way, but more, what is the learning for us? I think we've all been in situations where we can get carried away by an idea and run with it with excitement. We get caught up and we don't have any checks in place, dissenting voices, diverse voices. Look, I'm not saying Bumble didn't do due diligence or pretesting, but something went wrong, and it's a great lesson for everybody. I read in Grocer that retail media will be bigger than TV by 2025, according to Tesco. Now, there are people out there, I'm looking at you, Colin Lewis, who've been telling us this and letting us know that it is where budgets are moving to. In the UK, Tesco will treble the number of digital screens in stores to 6,000 by the end of this year. Tesco is also planning a rollout of next-generation handheld scanners. These will target millions of shoppers with hyper-personalised ads as they travel around its stores. I won't lie, I love the idea of this. The Club Card app experience is going to get more personalised too. And so this is a real drive by Tesco. Again, I love this. So will retail media be bigger than TV by 2025? Well, look, first of all, this is Tesco who are investing in this, telling us this. So maybe a pinch of salt. It is important, as eMarketer points out, to look at where the budgets are coming from. So is it taking from TV or other places? They suggest that in the US, between 60 and 70% of retail media dollars in 2026 will be net new to retailers, with the remainder coming from existing retail avenues like trade budgets, sponsorships, events, and promotion. That is a big chunk. And the US TV ad spending will fall by 7.7% to $62.42 billion this year, while retail media is forecast to grow by more than 20%, both this year and next, reaching $55.35 billion in 2024. Such big numbers, but the gap is closing. Will suppliers spend more on retail media by 2025? I suspect so. Do Tesco want more of the budget? Yes, they do. Can retail media do the same job as TV? Big brand building? Probably not. Will it play an ever-increasing role in the mix? And should it? Yes, absolutely. Google search is about to fundamentally change. At Google's annual I/O developer conference, Liz Reed, head of Google's search, showed off changes in an AI-laden presentation. It seems that AI is now underpinning nearly every product at Google. And Liz Reed, quoted in Wired, has said that AI overviews won't show up for every search result. It will be reserved for more complex questions. For example, if you search walmart.com, you really just want to go to walmart.com. But if you have an extremely customized question, that's where we're going to bring this. The pace at which this is developing is fascinating. Closer to home, Expressway had a brilliant ad that made me laugh. Expressway have coaches that drive to the airport. This sounds like the most unglamorous category ever. But look, we all know the stress of getting to an airport, the luggage, the stress again, the 2 hours from long-term parking to short-term to departures. I'm to be convinced that a bus is a better option, but Expressway was starting to convince me. There's some wonderful casting, brilliant moments in this piece, and bravo to Expressway. You're talking about a bus to an airport and you made it entertaining. So I'm not sure about getting into this one. It was big news this month when Scarlett Johansson allegedly accused OpenAI of allegedly creating a voice that allegedly sounded like her. I'm just going to say allegedly a lot in case there's any problems. Reported in The Guardian, the Hollywood star said she was shocked, angered, and in disbelief that the updated version of ChatGPT, which can listen to spoken prompts and respond verbally, had a voice eerily similar to hers. This is what she said in The Guardian. I'll just throw allegedly in. Johansson, it seems, accused the artificial intelligence company of imitating her voice for ChatGPT after she turned down an offer from CEO Sam Altman to be a human voice featured in the AI chatbot's voice mode. But according to Fox News, again, this is according to Fox News, not That's What I Call Marketing, they are reporting from the Washington Post, the agent for a different actress who landed the role says her client was never asked to imitate Johansson's voice. Voice is now replaced, according to Bloomberg. OpenAI pulled the voice. The decision followed users saying it sounded unsettlingly like the voice of Johansson. Whew, what a mess. Bloomberg pointed out that something that needs to be figured out, and that is why women in particular are highlighted in hopes of making people comfortable with technology. Questions tech companies must grapple with if they continue to push customers to use ever more capable AI assistants. Oh, another organization is killing the CMO. There we go. Gone. Reported in Marketing Week, Kirsty Hunter has been Chief Marketing Officer at Innocent since 2020 and will no longer be CMO because guess what? She's stepping into a new role of Director of Marketing and Innovation as the business enters a new phase of growth. The new role is to give her greater scope to shape the marketing strategy across all regions, a spokesperson for the brand said, and she will continue to serve on the company's board. So what's all the fuss about? Well, Marketing Week quotes Mark Ritson, and the point that he makes that changing marketers' titles from CMO distracts from the job at the hand. As Mark says, will I do an accent? No, I won't try. Look, across at the parallel world of finance, if anyone ever tried to start a conversation about whether Chief Finance Officer was the right title, they would immediately be ejected from the 43rd floor executive office via the nearest window. Look, it is a fair point. But on the flip side, here we have a marketer who's taking on a wider remit. Surely that's a good thing. Maybe we should just stop talking about this so much and stop giving it headlines. Best of luck, Kirsty Hunter. Again, back into some Irish advertising. And I think this is really important in the context of a conversation that was had at the live event of the On Strategy Showcase, which I shouldn't be promoting another podcast, but it's a great episode coming out next week with a great Fergus O'Carroll. But it was about advertising and creativity in Ireland. And here we have an amazing, fun ad from Thinkhouse for the Irish family-owned fruit brand Keelings. Keelings is a lovely brand, great products, and I think is pretty much widely loved and trusted in this country. What Thinkhouse have done is injected a bit of fun into advertising fruit, and that's a really good thing. I love the new ad from Thinkhouse for Irish family-owned fruit brand Keelings. Keelings is a lovely brand, great products, and I think it's pretty much widely adored and trusted in this country. What Thinkhouse have done is injected an incredible amount of fun into advertising fruit, and that's a good thing. I know Jane McDade was at the On Strategy Showcase recording a couple of weeks ago, and I wish I had thought about this ad as a great example of an agency doing fun, enjoyable work when that question was asked by Fergus O'Carroll. It is so totally Irish and really enjoyable fun. Joe Batty, Sales and Marketing Director of Keelings Retail Ireland, said the next stage of the brand's journey was to build on its already well-established credentials, ensuring its relevance in today's market with consumers. I think you have done just that. Bravo. I say it every month. I'm not going to mention Uncommon Studios, but then they go and spoil it all by doing something stupid like making great work. This time it is for the UK's largest digital bank, Monzo Bank, showing that no matter how money feels on Monzo, it feels better. Their first above-the-line campaign in 5 years, and AJ Coyne, Monzo's VP of Marketing, said, "Money evokes a variety of feelings, usually stress, anxiety, avoidance. However, our customers tell us that on Monzo, money feels different. So much so that they're 7 times more likely to use the word love when describing us than any other bank. We don't have Monzo in Ireland. I wonder would it make my lack of money feel better too?" Now, I've talked about Canva before on the podcast. I am a huge fan of Canva, and I am hoping to track down their CMO, Zach at Can. Come on, Zach, come and say hi. We can do an episode with Corey and Elf as well. Right, anyway, we'll get to that. I use the product every day. For a non-designer like me, it is easy to use. So I was excited to hear what happened at their product conference in LA. I was watching Keelings on social for the updates, and then my feed sort of blew up with people talking about Canva and a rap product launch. Comparisons were made to Logan Roy's rap performance. Some extreme reactions were about cancelling Canva subscriptions. I mean, you aren't being asked to rap when you design. But co-founder Cliff Ubrecht said the rap was by far his favourite part of the conference, saying tech company product launches have essentially tried to be Steve Jobs launching the iPhone since that happened. That's a great quote. We decided to be ourselves, do something different, and not take ourselves too seriously. Haters gonna hate. I don't know, but I don't suspect Canva said about going viral with this. Tell me if I'm wrong, Canva, but I don't imagine anyone was disappointed that they did. Most tech companies' conferences go wildly unnoticed, and product elements normally involve some SVP rehearsed to within an inch of their lives, nervous as hell, fumbling over a beyond scripted script, and it's terrible and gets no attention. So if I were Canva, I would double down on this next year. Go full Eurovision or something. Kerry Foods are merging dairy and oat. I won't lie, this sounds like an incredibly weird combination to me, but they are pretty smug about it, pumping $5 million behind a campaign. Victoria Southern Strategy, Marketing and Innovation Director with Kerry Dairy Consumer Foods said with this first-to-market category launch in the UK, we are not only creating a new way for dairy lovers to do dairy with a bold and exciting new brand, but also creating a dairy category that is fit for the future. She's head of innovation. I'm not going to argue with her, but it does sound weird. Back to OpenAI. Well, one of my favorite sources of great marketing information, MI3 in Australia, reported that OpenAI had a dedicated team studying the catastrophic risk of models becoming too powerful to be supervised. Well, not anymore. Their team lead, John Lake quits, slamming the firm's AI safety culture. It gets pretty damning in the MI3 article. These guys know their stuff. Apparently the resignations are due to a lack of faith in the commitment of OpenAI's leaders and investors to AI safety. Lake, the firm's head of alignment and super alignment, did that this week. They were quoted as saying, building smarter than human machines is an inherently dangerous endeavour, and OpenAI is shouldering enormous responsibility on behalf of all of humanity. But over the past year, safety, culture and processes have taken a backseat to shiny products. Any ad that starts with the line, John from work, is something that I am going to enjoy. I got to join the Marketing Leadership Masterclass session with CMO Boots Pete Markey. Pete is a Marketer of the Year, and if anyone's heard him speak, will know how engaging he is. He shared so much about his views of marketing, his approach to working with the C-suite, his marketing philosophy, and we're definitely working on getting Pete on this show. How many call-outs have I made for guests in this one segment? Anyway, in that Marketing Leadership Masterclass, Pete mentioned the new summer work from Boots. They always do great work, and this is really enjoyable, great casting, and let's face it, they always do great work, and this is really enjoyable, great casting, and let's face it, I'd be as thrilled that we packed the wrong Boots bag too. I'm going to end with politics. Yes, if this wasn't serious, I'm giving you politics. Politics tends not to do great marketing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong there and show me a great political ad, but they tend not to do it. But when your cousin is a comedian, you have a bit of a chance of creating something that's a little bit different. So hats off to Barry Andrews for creating something at least a bit different for the European elections. In the newsletter, you'll be able to get a link to it. I'll watch it over and over again while I'll try to figure out who vote is. Great piece, really enjoyable, really entertaining, and really brave, I guess, for a politician to go there and try something totally different. Well, listen, that is it from this month's Top of the Marketing Charts. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the newsletter on LinkedIn or on our website where you can get links to all this great work. That's what I call marketing.com. And we are going to be back. We have our series with legacy communications, building a legacy, continuing. That's a 3-parter. Part 1 was released. Of course, you can listen back to that. The Mindless Marketer series is coming out on Tuesday with Mark and V from The Sleeping Barber. And then it's off to Cannes, where I'm going to meet as many people as possible. So if you are at Cannes, visit that's what I call marketing.com/Cannes. Get in touch and we'll set up time to meet over there. So thanks so much for listening, watching, and until the next episode from me, your host, Conor Byrne, thanks for tuning in.
Are you facing the maze of global expansion? Diplomat introduces the diplomacy model, a cost-effective, innovative approach to navigating the complexities of your brand's presence in international markets. Visit diplomat.agency.
If you would like to reach an engaged community of marketing leaders, get in touch with That's What I Call Marketing to discuss sponsorship opportunities.
Today's show is supported by the Indie List, the leader in providing you with easy access to hundreds of highly experienced marketers quickly and cost-effectively. Visit theindielist.ie to speak to the Indie List team today.